Welcome back, horror fans, cinephiles, and Giallo enthusiasts. This is Tanner Leeser, your host for all things Giallo here on The King of Giallo, and this is another unscripted talking head movie review for the 1972 Giallo film Tropic of Cancer. This is directed by both Giampaolo Lomi and Edoardo Mulargia, and it stars Anthony Steffen, who I'm never really a fan of seeing his work, Anita Strindberg, Gabriele Tinti, and Umberto Raho. So I have this in the Forgotten Giallo 5 box set. Comes with 9 guests for a crime and a white dress for Mariella. So this was the first time that I watched this movie. I watched it earlier today at work when I had some downtime. While vacationing in Haiti, a married couple meet an old doctor friend who resides there. Dr. Williams has invented a new drug formula, and there are a few unscrupulous parties interested in acquiring it by any means necessary. So it's basically $5 for an August moon and the cat o' nine tails on an island. But, you know, $5 for an August moon is already on an island, so it's like, let's just make it a little bit more tropical. This might be a hot take. Some of you who already know me know that I actually do like $5 for an August moon. Some people say it's Bava's worst movie or it's, terrible Giallo. I disagree. I really enjoy that movie. And I gotta say, maybe I shouldn't be comparing these two movies, but I prefer it. Tropic of Cancer there's some good stuff in this movie. The directing seemed fine, but it really kind of felt like it was the setting that was making it interesting. Like, oh wow, this is Haiti. I mean, never been here before in a Giallo film in like a tropical setting. There we go. And you can tell that it is an exotic setting. It doesn't fully use it super well. I mean, it uses it enough. There is a little bit of the indigenous wildlife. They use a lot of the locals. You get a lot of the rituals from the locals. And that's also my main gripe with a lot of the scenes is that they will have people that they have performing stuff, and then they have a lot of extras. And these extras cannot not look into the lens of the camera. So you'll have people talking, and it's like they're supposed, there's a scene going on in public, and you'll have like all these people crowding around them, and they're all just like, it's so obnoxious. I thought it was bad with what was the Spanish-Italian Giallo one that I just watched, the 7 kills for Scotland Yard or 7 murders for Scotland Yard. I thought that one was bad with them shooting a lot of scenes on the streets and people were just like, don't film me, or like, what's that, a camera? This would be like 15 people in the same shot, like just like, whoa, a camera. And what was funny was it wasn't even like candid, we're on the streets filming that. It's like you can tell these were actually like professional shots. Like they paid these people. Maybe they didn't pay them, maybe they just told them to get in front of the camera. But yeah, and for me, I'm sorry, but that is something that just really bothers me is it really, how do I not sound pretentious? I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna sound pretentious. It completely shatters the verisimilitude, the illusion of what you're seeing being real. It completely breaks it, and it just reminds me, I am watching a production. These are people that are just standing there, and boy, are they having a good time being like, I'm gonna be famous. I can't wait to show this to mom. Yeah, okay. Anyways, getting past all that, there are some really cool kills. There was one kill that I remembered where someone got like burned with steam and they're just like all red and it looks really painful. And then they get tossed into some sort of, I thought it was like a harvester. I actually had no idea what the thing was. And then the last kill, is this really a spoiler? I don't know. Someone gets, I don't think this is a spoiler because it's not really telling you who the killer is, but someone gets killed by like a mob of local people. And they essentially get killed with a Molotov cocktail, which I didn't really have that on my Giallo bingo card, but it doesn't really, didn't really surprise me. It was just cool because I never considered I would see that. But, I had this thought on my way home that Giallo films really are closer to crime films than they are horror films. And I've said that before, but it is really true. It is like they're like a weird hybrid of the polizieschi, which are like action crime films, and then the Italian horror films, because they're not always super scary, and it usually is some form of a crime plot, but it's just whenever you're dealing with death in a story, that kind of makes it horror depending on how you execute it. Not to go down that whole, conversation of genre. Sticking with the movie, the music, goodness, nothing really stood out to me. Not that it was bad, but it didn't really stand out to me. Oh my gosh, I just realized it was Piero Umiliani who did the score for $5 for an August Moon, which I do think is one of the great underrated scores. But yeah, nothing really stood out to me, but I also was really struggling to stick with this one. There was a lot of, again, Joe Bob Briggs will get mad if he hears me say this, but he's not watching, but there was a lot of what I assume was diegetic sound, or at least the perception of it being diegetic sound. So that was cool. There was a lot of watching people perform these local rituals, and you're watching all this like percussion going on. That was entertaining. However, and when I do this Jolly Tally, this is going to take me a really long time, is that you would have a scene with like over 80 people, in this area dancing, running in a circle around like a kind of like a maypole type thing. And there's a lot of nudity, and it's hard to keep track of, did I already see that person or not? I'm almost thinking I might have to just cap out a scene as like, let's just say there's 10 instances of breasts and ass. Like, I don't know, because it's going to be really hard. It would literally be like one scene where you're like, okay, well, I can see like 6 topless women right here. And then it would cut and you would be like, okay, well, now I see a bunch of people naked running around. I can't tell if those are the same women I already saw. There's a lot of male nudity in this too, which I'm not like completely bothered by. It was interesting though, the amount of dongs you see. And, yeah, it was just a lot. It was a lot of frontal nudity on like both male and female. And so when I do give my prediction for the Jolly Tally score, it's gonna have to be high, because the nudity alone is gonna give this movie like 300-400 points, I can tell. The dream hallucination scene, the one with Anita Strindberg, is very reminiscent of a lizard in a woman's skin, which is interesting because she's also in that movie with in the hallucination scenes in the beginning of that movie. So yeah, there's a lot of ties to other movies. It really just is kind of like the hallucination type stuff of Lizard and the scheming type stuff of $5 for an August Moon, and a little bit of the jet set of like Case of the Scorpion's Tail, I guess, which is also Anita Strindberg. So there's some ties here and there. Anthony Steffen, his performance is fine. It's kind of dull. It's not as bad as it is in Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave. I actually thought his performance in Crimes of the Black Cat was a little more interesting, but he is kind of a little bit of overacting, a little bit of chewing the scenery a bit. He pulled it off better in that movie. In this one, he's kind of seems listless. Kind of seems like he's not really doing anything. I gotta say this. Anthony Steffen comes off as someone to me who is like maybe a good performer in high school theater, and then you see that person in like a community theater setting or a setting that's more professional, has people that maybe have more experience, and it's like, yeah, it's really starting to show like that and I don't even want to say like he's terrible, he's just not that good, and it makes me wonder why he keeps getting hired. Anthony Steffen and what's the other dude's name? Antonio Sabato is the other Giallo actor that I can't stand. I really don't like seeing either of those guys. Put them in a movie together, that will be rough. One thing that really did keep this movie really entertaining for me was, I forget what the character's name is, Fred Wright, played by Gabriele Tinti. This dude was so funny unintentionally. He was just such an asshole, and he would just say the most like condescending and just like he was just so irritated and like he's just like ugh. And I'm trying to see what he was in. He was in Death Occurred Last Night. And then it's funny because he would be very rude and very condescending to the locals, and it kind of seemed like it was verging on racism, but he never said anything that was overtly racist. So you get the idea that this guy is just an asshole. He could be in Italy and he's going to be talking to these people as if they are beneath him. And God, it was so funny. I literally had to like start writing down certain lines so I could go and look them up when I put in my stingers at the end. God, it was nothing else I can say about that. It was funny. Beyond that, yeah, you know, the movie was fine. It also reminds me a little bit of the Dead or Alive from this same year, because they both are in very unique settings that I don't believe were ever done before or ever done hence. And they both kind of feel like they did some stuff with it, but not enough. This movie does do more. This movie definitely does more with its setting, and arguably it does more with its setting than some other Giallo films that are set like out of Europe, set in like the United States or abroad somewhere else. There is more done with the setting, and they did fairly take advantage of the local customs and traditions and film them in a documentarian style. It's just the idea of this being a movie is constantly being interrupted by people looking into the lens, and it's not in. Never mind. I don't want to discuss cinema verite, but so I didn't despise this movie. I probably will enjoy a little bit more. There was also a gay character who was, I mean, he was flamboyant, but he wasn't really like a super stereotype, if that makes sense. So that was cool. It's always interesting to have like gay characters in a Giallo and them not be like over the top fruity, like from the point of view of a straight man writing them 50 plus years ago, where they're just like talking like this, where you're like, okay, come on, dude. Like, I don't know, maybe gay men 50 years ago were really hamming it up like that. Something tells me they probably weren't, because it wasn't as accepted to be quite as open, especially in Italy. But what do I know? I really don't know anything about it. I'm just saying this movie did a really good job of having a character who was matter-of-factually gay, and it wasn't so obnoxious or stereotypical. It was cool, but it was funny because one of the first times you see him, it's like in his pool, and he's got like 3 naked guys just like diving in the water. You're just seeing schlong swing. Okay, I'm getting off. Yeah, so here's the deal. I thought the movie was fine. I probably will enjoy it more as I write the Jolly Tally. Who knows, because this Jolly Tally is really gonna grind my gears, like I said, when I have to keep pausing, rewinding, going forward, rewinding back to try and just keep track of all the nudity, because oh my god, it's gonna be a chore, and I might have to cap it. I might have to cap it off because it was insane. And then oh god, it'd be like, okay, I'm seeing like 8 asses at once. Oh, now they're facing me and I'm seeing 8 wieners. You know, that one was at least more consistent. It was the big party scene with like a bunch of naked people running around, and it would keep cutting. That was where I was like, dude, I'm not going to be able to keep track of this. This is going to be way too hard. It is what it is. Why did I impose this upon myself to count every single instance of nudity? I forgot to mention this until I was editing the video, and I realized, oh, wait a minute, there was something I did want to mention. And that is, be warned again, if you are someone who has a hard time watching animal violence, animal cruelty, there were several instances in the film. So there is there's some stuff with a spider. There is, during the ritual scene, you do watch I think it's like a cow. I don't know exactly what it was, but you do watch it get pierced and bloodlet, and they're collecting the blood from it. I guarantee that was real. And then there is a big scene in an actual butcher house, and you are watching cows get bludgeoned unconscious and then strung up, and then you'll see like parts of flesh getting sheared off, and then to the point where they're just hanging pieces of meat. I don't know why we had to see that, but it is in the movie. It does kind of remind me of Death Laid an Egg with the chicken farm, but this was way more over the top, as well as there being a scene where you're watching an actual cockfight, and that part's not too bad, but it is happening. So I needed to let people know for that, because it definitely is a make or break, I believe, because this isn't like Knife of Ice where there is a matador scene in the first 3 minutes. This is like bits of animal violence, animal cruelty sprinkled throughout the movie. And like I said, I won't say this is a bad movie, but if you have an issue with that stuff, I can't really say this is a movie that, you got to get over it and just watch it and soldier through it because it's so worth it. It's not really. I, for one, am not really bothered by that, but I know a lot of people are, so there is a warning for you. Thank you. And sorry for the bad quality of this recording. Anyways, please tell me what your thoughts are for Tropic of Cancer. Yeah. So let me actually do my prediction, because I forgot to do it for Don't Torture a Duckling. But I imagine there is, for the AZs, it's probably going to be, I'll say 17 out of 26. Maybe a little less, but I'll go with 17. And for the final Jolly Tally score, dude, it's going to be up there. I'm going to say 775 to 825. God, I might want to go higher, but if this movie's in the top 3, it's going to bother me. Kind of like Slaughter Hotel. It's going to bother me if it's in the top. I'm just going to be like, well, yeah, of course you are. You just fixated on showing like a bunch of naked locals. Anyways, yeah, so let me know what your thoughts are for this movie. I imagine most people actually enjoy this more than me, but I don't know. This is also probably the only time I could wear my shirt that I got in Hawaii, because it would not make sense for me to wear this in any other review. Probably didn't even make sense in this one, but yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Fill me in. Tell me, convince me why this is a better movie. And that's all I got, folks. So I really appreciate you sticking around. I've been really rambling in some of these. Yeah, I got nothing else, but thank you for watching, and thank you to those on Patreon. And hey, folks, I'll see you at the Jolly Tally, and this is Tanner Leeser for the King and Giallo. So if there's nothing else, I'll see you there.
Monsieur. Are you trying to kill us? You ought to be shot for such stupidity. We were almost buried under that avalanche. Madame, I'd like to know when I might see Dr. Williams. Pacone. Well, I guess I shouldn't have asked. You'll get an explanation in the morning. Only let's get out of here before I get lynched. Over here, there's another surprise.